In a quiet Colorado cabin, Jessica and Mark Thompson had spent years dreaming of a child. When that dream finally came true, they never imagined their fiercest protector would be the wild animal they once saved. Luna, a bobcat with piercing, golden eyes and a loyalty that ran deeper than instinct. From the start, Luna seemed to sense what no one else could. Her silent patrols beside the crib, the way she stared into shadows, her insistence that the baby never sleep alone. It all felt strange yet oddly sweet, until one night, when Luna fought to protect A and force the truth into the open. What was this wild guardian defending the baby from? Why did Jessica and Mark call the police? This is the story of instinct stronger than reason, of a silent guardian who saw what others missed, and of a truth that would upend everything they thought they knew. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next story. Morning. Light spilled through the curtains as Jessica Thompson stirred, feeling the familiar weight of Luna curled against her stomach. It had been 3 weeks since the bobcat began this strange new habit, nestling against her belly each night, refusing to move until morning. Mark, her husband of 5 years, had chuckled at it, but Jessica sensed something deeper in Luna's behavior. "She knows," Jessica whispered one morning, gently stroking Luna's soft, spotted fur as the bobcat purred. "Somehow, she knows before we do." From the doorway, Mark smiled, amused and loving. At 35, silver strands had begun to streak his dark hair, and fine laugh lines traced his eyes, marks left by years of hope and heartbreak. "What now, Jess?" he asked, handing her a warm mug of herbal tea. "You gonna be late again 'cause your bodyguard won't let you move?" Jessica just shook her head, a secret smile tugging at her lips. There was something more. 3 days later, a plastic test confirmed it. Luna had sensed the truth before anyone else. Jessica was pregnant. After 5 long years, 2 miscarriages, and countless heartbreaks this time, it was real. When Jessica showed Mark the test, tears streaming, Luna sat at her feet like a sentry, golden eyes gleaming with what felt like pride. Luna had entered their lives 3 years before, a young bobcat found injured and alone near their mountain home. Mark, a wildlife vet at the local rehab center, brought her home temporarily while she healed from a leg wound. The plan was to release her once she recovered, but Luna had other ideas. She bonded instantly with Jessica, who worked from home as a children's book illustrator. Unlike most bobcats, Luna seemed content indoors, especially beside Jessica. When release day came, Luna returned to the cabin again and again. The 3rd time, she limped back with an injured paw that Mark quietly suspected she'd hurt on purpose. "Some animals choose their people," the wildlife center director finally admitted. "And this one's chosen you." With permits and special arrangements, Luna officially became part of their family, the child they hadn't yet been able to have. "She's going to be jealous," Mark's mother warned when they shared the pregnancy news 6 weeks later. They were in the kitchen of their sunlit log cabin, Luna lounging protectively at Jessica's feet. "She already is protective," Jessica countered, her hand running affectionately over Luna's ears. "She knew before I even took the test." Eleanor, Mark's mother, looked unconvinced. "Wild animals are unpredictable, Jessica. What happens when there's a baby crying all night? You've heard those stories, pets snapping." "Mom," Mark interrupted, calm but firm. "Luna isn't just a pet. She's been nothing but gentle. We'll be careful, but we're not sending her away." Eleanor sighed. At 68, life had taught her that even good intentions could end in heartbreak. "Just promise me you'll be careful. Watch how she reacts once the baby comes." Jessica nodded, but in her heart she had no doubts. Luna had already proven herself more intuitive and devoted than most humans. Each night she curled around Jessica's belly like a furry shield, purring softly, as if she was already bonding with the life inside. Lily Grace Thompson arrived on a crisp autumn morning after 18 grueling hours of labor. 2 days later, Mark drove them home, tiny Lily nestled in her car seat. Both parents were nervous. Would Luna accept her? They needn't have worried. When Mark set the carrier down in the living room, Luna approached slowly, nose twitching as she took in the scent. Jessica held her breath. The Bobcat peered into the seat, golden eyes locked on the sleeping infant. After a long pause, Luna let out a soft chirping sound, the same sound wild Bobcat mothers made to their cubs, and settled beside the car seat, body tense, eyes sharp, already standing guard. That night, when they placed Lily in her crib in the softly lit nursery, Luna curled up beneath it, refusing to leave. "Should we let her stay?" Mark whispered as they lingered in the doorway. Jessica nodded, her voice hushed. "I think she's made herself the guardian. Let's see how it goes." At 2 a.m., when Lily's cries pierced the quiet, Luna was already pacing outside the nursery door before the monitor even lit up. From that moment on, a new routine began. Luna became their early warning system, often alerting them to Lily's needs before the baby herself stirred. "It's like having a furry nurse," Jessica whispered one night, watching Luna settle beside the playmat where Lily, now 3 months old, was trying to roll over. Mark, once cautious about leaving the Bobcat near the baby, had come to trust her completely. "She's better with Lily than some actual babysitters," he admitted with a laugh. When Jessica's 6-month maternity leave came to an end, childcare became the next hurdle. Her illustration work allowed some flexibility, but she still needed uninterrupted time to meet deadlines. Mark's hours at the Wildlife Rehab Center were long and often unpredictable. "What about Emily?" Mark suggested one night. "She's between jobs, and she's always saying how much she wants time with Lily." Emily Reynolds had been Jessica's best friend since college, her roommate for 4 years, maid of honor at the wedding, and now Lily's doting godmother. "She'd love it," Jessica said, considering, "and it's only 2 or 3 days a week." It seemed like a perfect solution. But the first day Emily came to babysit, Luna's behavior changed. Until then, she had been neutral toward Emily, indifferent, but not unfriendly. That morning, as Emily reached for Lily, Luna stepped in, body stiff, ears flat. "Luna, it's just Emily," Jessica said, gently nudging her aside. "You know her." With a low growl, Luna backed off, but kept her golden eyes locked on Emily the entire time. "She's just being protective," Jessica said, offering Emily an apologetic smile. "She'll adjust." Emily smiled, though her gaze stayed wary. "It's okay. She's just watching out for her little sister." But Luna didn't adjust. As the weeks passed, her wariness turned to distrust. She shadowed Emily constantly, refusing to leave Lily's side while Emily was in the house. Whenever Emily reached for the crib, Luna would pace anxiously, sometimes physically stepping between her and the baby. "I'm starting to get a little uneasy about Luna's behavior," Jessica told Mark one night after Emily had left. "She's not just watchful, she's borderline hostile." Mark glanced toward the nursery where Luna lay curled at the foot of Lily's crib, looking serene now that the house was quiet again. "Has she ever actually tried to bite or scratch her?" he asked. Jessica shook her head. "No, not once. She just watches, blocks like she doesn't trust Emily at all." Mark frowned. "Maybe she's just adjusting to someone new handling the baby." "Lily," Mark said, though concern creased his brow. "Let's just give it a little more time." But by the time Lily was 8 months old, nothing had improved. If anything, Luna's protectiveness had intensified. She hissed when Emily picked Lily up and refused to leave the room while Emily was there. Not even for food. "Your cat seriously hates me," Emily joked one afternoon as Jessica returned from a publisher meeting. Jessica sighed, watching Luna stalk behind Emily as she packed up. "I don't get it. She's never like this with anyone else." Emily shrugged. "Some animals are just weird. My grandma had a parrot that lost its mind every time my uncle walked in. Only him. No clue why. Still, I'm sorry if it makes things harder," Jessica said, taking Lily from Emily's arms. Instantly, Luna relaxed, the tension that had gripped her melting away the moment Lily was back in Jessica's arms. "It's okay," Emily replied lightly. "She doesn't stop me from doing anything. She just watches, like a furry security camera." But later that week, when Mark's mother came to visit for the first time in months, Jessica noticed something strange. Luna, who had always been lukewarm at best toward Eleanor, didn't react at all when the older woman cradled Lily. She watched, yes, but there was no tension, no tail flicking, no low growls. Nothing like how she was with Emily. "That's odd," Jessica murmured. To Mark that night, "Luna was totally chill with your mom holding Lily today. Not even a twitch." Mark thought for a moment. "Mom's not a threat," he said. "Luna can tell." The words hung in the air, heavier than they sounded. If Luna didn't react to Eleanor, what did that say about how she felt toward Emily? 3 weeks later, Jessica and Mark planned their first real date night since Lily's birth. With Eleanor visiting family in Arizona, Emily was the obvious choice to babysit. "We'll just be at Antonio's," Mark said, grabbing his keys. "It's 15 minutes away. Phones will be on the table." "Go, have fun," Emily said cheerfully, already on the floor with Lily, who was busy gnawing on a soft toy. "We'll be fine, right, Lilybug?" Luna lay across the room, golden eyes fixed on Emily with her usual unyielding stare. "She seems calm tonight," Jessica said, a flicker of hope in her voice. "Maybe she's finally warming up to you." Emily chuckled nervously, glancing at the Bobcat. "Or maybe she's plotting my downfall. Either way, we've got this." But as they drove toward the restaurant, Jessica couldn't shake a feeling of unease. "Maybe we should have asked your mom to come back early," she murmured as they pulled into the parking lot. Mark reached over and gave her hand a reassuring squeeze. "Jess, Emily's your best friend. She loves Lily, and Luna hasn't done anything. Not really. She's just overly protective. We deserve one night. Just one." Jessica nodded, exhaling, lowly. "You're right. Let's enjoy this." They were halfway through their entrees when Mark's phone buzzed on the table. He checked the screen and frowned. "It's Emily." Jessica felt her heart drop as he put it on speaker. "Mark? Jessica?" Emily's voice was tight, breathless. "I need you to come home. Now." "What happened?" Jessica's voice sharpened, already reaching for her purse. "Is Lily okay?" "She's fine," Emily said quickly. "It's Luna. She went berserk. She tried to attack me when I was putting Lily down. I locked myself in the bathroom. She's guarding the door. I can't get to the baby." Mark was already signaling for the check. "We're on our way. Don't move." The 15-minute drive felt like 100. Jessica's thoughts spun. With every worst-case scenario, Luna hurting Emily, Lily crying alone, someone calling animal control. When they pulled into the driveway, the house looked deceptively calm. Mark entered first, Jessica right behind him. Lily's cries echoed down the hallway, guiding them to the nursery, where they found their daughter standing in her crib. Tears streaked Lily's flushed cheeks as she stood in her crib, her little fists gripping the rail. Beneath her, Luna crouched, alert and rigid, tense, but not aggressive. "Lily, sweetheart, we're here," Jessica murmured, rushing forward to scoop her into her arms. Lily immediately quieted, burying her face into her mother's shoulder. Luna didn't move from her place, her eyes locked on the nursery doorway, like a sentinel. "Emily," Mark called down the hallway. "It's us, you can come out." The bathroom door creaked open and Emily peeked out, her face pale, her hands visibly shaking. "Is that beast locked up?" "She's with Jessica and Lily," Mark said, his voice calm but clipped. "In the nursery." Emily stepped out cautiously. "I was just putting Lily down, like I always do, gave her the bottle, rocked her a little. Everything was normal." Then out of nowhere, Luna charged in, hissing, snarling. "She lunged at me, Mark, I swear, she went straight for my throat." Mark's expression tightened. "Did you do anything that might have startled her?" Emily recoiled slightly, her eyes wide with offense. "Of course not. I was just tucking Lily in. That cat has hated me from the beginning. And tonight she lost it." Back in the nursery, Jessica sat gently rocking Lily, who was now half asleep in her arms. Luna had repositioned herself at Jessica's feet, her body relaxed, tail curled neatly. Around her, she looked the picture of serenity. "Look at her now," Emily muttered from the doorway, not daring to cross the threshold. Like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth, but an hour ago she was feral. Mark studied Luna, then glanced at Emily. His face was unreadable. "Maybe it's best if you head home," he said softly. "We'll talk more tomorrow, once things have cooled down." After Emily left, Jessica laid Lily gently in her crib. Luna resumed her post beneath it without hesitation, calm and silent. There was no sign of the behavior Emily had described. "I don't get it," Jessica said as they settled into the living room. "She's totally normal. Gentle, protective. Only ever like this when Emily's around." Mark rubbed a hand over his beard, brow furrowed. "That's just it," he said. "She's fine with everyone else. Only Emily sets her off." Jessica hesitated. "You don't think—" The thought trailed off, too dark to speak aloud. "I think," Mark said slowly, "that animals sometimes know things we don't." The next morning, with Lily safely at her grandmother's, Mark sat at his computer. Their home security system had been installed back when Luna first came to live with them, part of their exotic animal license agreement. The nursery, living room, and main hallway were all under video surveillance, with footage automatically saved to a secure cloud server for 30 days. He started combing through the previous night's footage. For the first few hours, everything appeared normal. Emily feeding Lily, giving her a bath, playing on the rug. Luna could be seen in the background, always watching, always nearby, but never interfering. Then came the bedtime routine. Emily carried Lily into the nursery and laid her gently in the crib. Luna followed, settling into her usual spot near the dresser. Mark watched as Emily leaned over the crib, her back to the camera, adjusting the blanket around Lily. He was about to skip ahead when something subtle caught his eye. Emily pulled out her phone and held it over the crib. At first it looked innocent enough, just another photo of the baby, but then she glanced over her shoulder, checked the door, and reached into her pocket. She withdrew a small object, barely the size of a coin, and nestled it among Lily's stuffed animals. Mark froze. He rewound the footage and zoomed in. It was a tiny black device, circular and matte, like a button or a bead. But when he looked closer, it became unmistakable. A miniature camera. A cold, leaden feeling settled in Mark's stomach as he continued watching. On screen, Luna, who had been lying motionless beneath the crib, suddenly stood, her body shifting from relaxed to coiled and alert. Emily, unaware she was being watched, reached into her pocket again. This time she withdrew a second object, a small, sleek transmitter, and crouched to slide it beneath the crib mattress. Luna's growl started low, a warning rumble that vibrated through the nursery speakers. Emily froze, her eyes flicking toward the Bobcat, now advancing toward her with deliberate, silent steps. She quickly shoved the transmitter back into her pocket and backed away from the crib. Her movements rushed and clumsy. Luna blocked her retreat. She stepped between Emily and the door, her growl deepening. Her fur bristled. Her eyes blazed with unmistakable warning. Then Emily made a break for it. She darted toward the door, and Luna lunged, not at her face, not at her throat, but at the very pocket where the transmitter had been stashed. Emily managed to slip through the doorway, yelping as she fled down the hall. Luna didn't pursue. Instead, she returned to the crib, circling it once before reaching up with a paw. She batted gently at the blankets until the tiny hidden camera tumbled free, landing with a quiet clink on the floorboards. Then without ceremony, she lay back down beneath the crib, back on guard. Mark sat back in his chair, nausea roiling in his gut. He rewound further, reviewed more nights. 3 previous visits from Emily all showed her discreetly planting small devices near the crib. Each time, she had retrieved them before Jessica and Mark returned home. But last night, Luna had stopped her. With trembling hands, Mark reached for his phone and dialed the police. Detective Sarah Rodriguez sat at their kitchen table, her expression somber. Luna had been confined to the bedroom, much to Mark's quiet frustration. She was the one who uncovered this, he'd argued. Across from her, Jessica and Mark sat pale and silent. "Based on the footage you provided," Rodriguez said gently, "and the device recovered from your daughter's nursery, we have enough evidence to arrest Emily Reynolds." She glanced at her notes. The camera was transmitting to an external server. "Our cyber team is already working to trace the data's destination." Jessica shook her head, her voice a whisper. "But why? Emily was my best friend. Why would she do this to Lily, to us?" Rodriguez's expression softened, but the weight behind her words did not. "Ms. Thompson, Mr. Thompson, I need to prepare you for what we may uncover." The type of equipment Ms. Reynolds was using, covert transmitters, hidden cameras, are typically associated with networks that traffic in exploitative material involving minors. Jessica covered her mouth, her body curling in on itself as a quiet, broken sound escaped her. Mark reached for her hand, holding it tightly, his own knuckles white. "You mean," he began, voice cracking, "she was filming our daughter for—" He couldn't say it. Rodriguez nodded slowly. "We don't yet know the full extent, but given the tech she used and the server logs we've accessed so far, this wasn't an isolated act. It appears she was participating in a larger operation." Jessica's voice was barely audible. "How long?" "We'll need to review all your footage to know for certain, but from what your husband found, it's been happening for several weeks." She paused. "The only silver lining, if one exists, is that your pet intervened. The device activated last night was only live for a few minutes before being dislodged. It doesn't appear it transmitted much, if anything." Mark stared toward the closed bedroom door, where Luna waited. Listening, watching. "She knew," he said quietly. "From the beginning." "She knew." Rodriguez nodded. "Animals can sense danger in ways we don't understand. She wasn't just being protective. She was defending your child the only way she knew how." What followed was a blur of police, interviews, evidence collection, and the crushing weight of betrayal. Emily's arrest led to the unraveling of a criminal network spanning 3 states. At least a dozen other families had been unknowingly victimized. 5 additional arrests followed, including the ringleader, a man Emily had been secretly dating for over a year. Jessica was devastated. "She was in our home because of me," she said one evening as she and Mark sat on the porch, watching the sun sink behind the pines. Luna lay curled at their feet, and Lily slept peacefully in Jessica's arms. "I brought her into Lily's life. You couldn't have known," Mark said gently but firmly. "None of us could have known." He paused, glancing down at Luna. "Except, Luna," as if hearing her name, the Bobcat lifted her head, her golden eyes meeting Jessica's with quiet intensity. "I'll never doubt your judgment again," Jessica whispered to her solemnly. "You protected our family when we couldn't protect ourselves." The story of the Bobcat who uncovered a criminal operation made national headlines. "Guardian angel in fur," read one. Wildlife experts were fascinated. Some speculated that Luna had sensed subtle cues, changes in Emily's scent or behavior that betrayed her intent. Cues invisible to humans but obvious to an animal with instincts sharpened by evolution. Whatever the reason, Luna's status in the Thompson household was forever changed, from beloved companion to revered protector. Even the county animal control board, once skeptical about housing a bobcat in a home with an infant, issued a special commendation, praising Luna's extraordinary instincts. A year later, Lily's second birthday was celebrated in the backyard of their mountain cabin. Balloons drifted in the breeze, the sound of laughter echoing through the trees. Luna lay beneath her favorite pine tree, eyes half-lidded, but always tracking Lily's toddling movements with gentle vigilance. "She's back to her old self," Jessica said as Mark handed her a slice of birthday cake. "She did what she needed to do," Mark replied, watching Luna stretch and rise to follow Lily to the sandbox. "She identified the threat, protected Lily until we could see it, and once the danger passed, she let it go." Detective Rodriguez, who had stayed in touch and had been invited to the party, approached with a warm smile. Your furry security system seems to be enjoying the celebration, she quipped. Jessica laughed. She approved all the guests on the list. We trust her judgment implicitly now. As you should, the detective said, her tone turning serious. In all my years, I've never seen anything like what Luna did. The case against Emily and the others is airtight thanks to your security footage. But without Luna forcing your hand that night, who knows how long it might have gone on? Mark nodded, the weight of that truth still heavy. The experts all say the same thing. Luna wasn't just being a protective animal. She was trying to expose Emily. She was communicating with us in the only way she could. Detective Rodriguez smiled softly. The judge who sentenced Emily mentioned Luna in his remarks. He said, "It's a reminder that innocence has many protectors, not all of them human." As if on cue, Lily toddled over to Luna and flung her little arms around the Bobcat's neck in an exuberant hug. Luna simply nuzzled her, a deep, contented purr rising from her chest. She saved more than just Lily, Jessica said, watching them. Her voice was soft but resolute. She saved the other children too, the ones already being exploited, and the ones who might have been next. The afternoon sun bathed the backyard in golden light. Family and friends gathered to watch Lily blow out her birthday candles, a joyful chorus rising behind her. Luna stood beside her high chair, silent and still, a living sentinel. In the Thompson household, Luna would never be just a pet. She was the guardian who had sensed a danger no one else could see, the protector who refused to let evil touch the crib she watched, the hero who brought justice not just for one child, but for many. And each night, as Lily drifted to sleep beneath the ever-watchful eyes of her wild guardian, Jessica and Mark offered silent thanks for the mysterious bond that had formed between a child and the creature who chose to love her. Bond more powerful than deception, more perceptive than human instinct, a bond that had, in the end, confronted darkness with the fierce, protective light of unconditional love.